Hello guys, welcome back to Planet Zoo. This time we're gonna play the timed scenario of Jameson Wildlife Park. We're gonna play medium difficulty this time. So, here we have a quick look on what the park looks like. The zoo, actually. There are some large enclosures, all looks pretty natural. There's a nice beaver dam here, so at least there's gonna be beavers. We have an hour time to get the gold medal. The gold star it is, actually. So we have to add some habitat species, we have to add 2 Arctic foxes, we have to breed a cougar, we have to get education level to 3 stars, and we have to have some profit going on. So first we're gonna see if we're gonna have a cougar already, and we have 1 male, so we're gonna add a female soon. But first we're gonna check what we have here on staff. Add some more. We're gonna add some vets because we want the education rating to go up, and to do so we have to have vets to do research on the animals we have. So you have to make sure that you keep up with training your staff, because trained staff can do more jobs by themselves, so you won't have to hire as many, which is good, right? We also have 1 mechanic doing research on energy on energy, because we want to have some solar panels with these raised pads. That's just a nice thing to have, because you can place them just right along the path and the guests won't bother, so that's a good thing. Alright, let's get a cougar female in here so they can breed and get our first achievement going. There's plenty of female cougars, so we're just gonna pick one. Mostly I'll take the youngest one, because that just lasts longer. Just that simple. Okay, and then there's some red water going on. I'll just get back to it in a minute. First we're gonna make sure that there's gonna be some food and drink available for the guests, because there's nothing yet, and there's already 1,000 of them in the park, so we might as well get at least 1 shop for food and 1 shop for drinks, because that will just make the guests happier. Just that simple. Happier guests means they stay longer in the park, which means they will pay us more money. So that's a good thing, because we need money to be able to do anything pretty much, and even be able to achieve this gold star. For bins you should use the green recycle bins, because they make you the conservation points. They're a good source for the conservation points, which you can use to get some animals. Especially when money is short, there's gonna be always conservation points which you can use to achieve animals, so that's a good thing. Just spread them throughout the park and you'll be good. Alright. ATMs are already there, so that's no issue. Just place a few benches so that tired guests can take a seat and get a little rest. I'm adjusting the time schedule here because I don't like to work during the night. I'd like to see what I'm doing. So, there's no power on my shop, so I'm gonna add a wind turbine. Because relocating is not really gonna work. I'm not really good on the money, so I have to make sure I won't spend as much. So I'll just gonna add a wind turbine a little out from the path, and the guests won't mind like this. And I have some issues connecting, and this is why, because the thing is way too high. Okay, so we're just gonna locate it right there, and at least there it will be good. Connect it to the path and you'll be fine. The shops are working and they can start making money. Then we're gonna move on to the animals. There's some issue going on here, and that's a red water situation, which means the water is not filtered, and you really need to make sure that this is solved, because the animals are getting sick, and you'll just keep getting messages that the animals are having food issues, which is not really true, because just the thing that's really going on is that their water is dirty. So the only way to fix that is to make sure you're at your water filters, okay? In the meantime, keep up with your vet research, because that's just super important for your education rating. Taking a loan out is not too bad, long as you pay it back in the end, because otherwise you might not reach your objective for the for the profit, the yearly profit you need to have. So don't forget the bullfrogs when you start working on the welfare here, because they also like some stuff in their habitats. And then just take a look at all the animals that are already in your zoo. Make sure you provide them with the right enrichment items, both food and toys, and they will love you for it. Make sure that you put the water items in the water, like balls and ducks. You can just place them in the water, no problem. Underwater feeders are perfect because there's not much land available in this zoo. You might as well use the underwater space you have. Okay, so the cookers are doing fine right now. Looks like they are. There's some issue going on here too. Let's get some water pump in there, so that they always have access to fresh water. And this I'm gonna do for every animal species, because it just guarantees that they have water available all the time, and I don't need to have keepers coming out to provide them with water. But make sure that you always also make sure that the water is filtered, because they will prefer to drink from the natural water sources instead of the water pump, and therefore will get infected with funny diseases if they drink dirty water anyways. So we continue placing the enrichment items. You just have to have 70% welfare or happiness in the animals. That's not too high, but you might as well want to keep it as high as possible. It just makes your life a lot easier, okay? Happy animals is happy guests. Happy guests is more money. Just that simple. Okie dokie, the beavers are happy now. Just add some more balls and the rubber ducky. Love the rubber ducky. They look pretty in their ponds, oh my goodness. Okay, so research has been completed for a couple of animals. That's perfect. Just keep an eye on them. You need to do it for all the animal species you have, because if you skip one, then that will affect the whole average, and that might not be funny. So just keep an eye on it. Keep them all as high as possible, and you'll be good. Alright, so now it's time to add some education boards and speakers, because you have to have your education high. And to reach this, you need to use education boards and speakers as well as conservation boards. But I already saw that there's some spread throughout the park, so I'm not going to pay attention to that for now. Unless it's necessary after some time, but for now I'll just stick to this. Okay, adjust the time a little, because now it's October and the days are shorter, and I still want to work in just daylight, preferably. Rain is already hard enough to see what I'm doing, so I might as well shorten the time a little more. That's no problem at all. Okay, make sure that you have enough donation bins around, because that will provide you with money to work on your zoo, which is quite important. And right here I think I'm making a mistake, because it is not picking the alligator at first. So, and yeah, that's a moose, so I might as well change these to the moose, which is what I'm doing right now. Perfect, that's good. On to the next one. Let's see what's actually there for each animal species that I have. Some already have some stuff going on, either because I placed it there or because it was already there. And some species just don't have anything yet, so I'll just go around all the species that I have and make sure that they are provided with each with a education board and a speaker. Right now there are some issues going on with the prairie dogs. They are all hungry, and I really don't know why. Maybe it's because the keeper can't get up this high to feed those feeding platforms. We're just gonna get a keeper over here and make sure that those prairie dogs are gonna be fed. So yeah, that's okay. Okay, just make sure that you keep up with the training of your staff, Yes, it costs you a little money, but it's always cheaper than hiring staff, okay? Just keep that in mind. So they already have some speaker going on, so that means we're just gonna add some education boards right there. Set them to the correct animal species. Add some donation boxes because I don't see any up here. Very important. And we do the same for the California sea lions. You can also use some more donation boxes. The more donation boxes you have, the more money you make. It's just that simple. Another education board and speaker. There's also an animal show here, which is quite common for sea lions. It's just like in real zoos. What zoo doesn't do a show with sea lions, right? Especially Californian ones. Okay, so the cougars also have some issue going on with the water. I guess it's because the habitat split between the alligators and the cougars. So that means that the cougars don't get clean water while the alligators do. So I'll just put it right there and get it connected to the main path so that mechanics are able to reach it to keep the maintenance up. Alright, so that looks good. So as you can see, money is a little short, so yeah, we're just taking out some loans for now and keep the fingers crossed that we will earn money fast enough to be able to get the profit going before the end of the hour. Well, we'll just keep the fingers crossed that it's gonna happen. So, make sure you keep up with research. Once again, it's very important in order to get that 3-star ranking for your education. Very important. So this education board is unconnected because it's too far from the cougars. So I think I'm gonna relocate the thing to the beavers because they also don't have any education items going on yet. And I don't have any money, so I might as well use this one and relocate it to the beavers so that at least the beavers have some education material going on. Because apparently the place for the cougars is too far for them to be recognized as education items for the cougars. So here I'm just gonna raise the entrance fees of the zoo in order to try to make a little more money. I don't know if the guests are gonna like it. If they don't, they'll tell me, and if they're okay with it, I'll just won't hear anything from it. So that's good. I already got one objective done, so that's great. I might as well get the Arctic foxes going on already so that I have them in stock. As soon as I got the money to actually build them an enclosure, I'll do that, but for now I'll just keep them into my trade center. So I'm just looking up real quick here what age prairie dogs can reach, and that's gonna be 7 years, and that's because I got a lot of prairie dogs here. Just a ton. Okay, those 3 old ones are already dead, so I'll pick the non-gold adults and I'll sell them. Because I also have a ton of babies. So I always have plenty of prairie dogs to breed and make sure that nothing's gonna go south. Don't pay attention to inbreeding right now because that's just no issue in time scenarios. You just pay attention to the amount of animals you have and that there's gonna be babies, okay? So I got a lot of moose too, and I only need 2 adults, so I might as well get rid of some adults. I can use the money, and the more I get rid of, I can use that space for some other animal species later on. Okay, so there's speakers overlapping here. Make sure that you just get them apart from each other because the visitors get annoyed by it and you just don't want that, okay? In the meantime, the cougars have been breeding and there's a baby cougar in the park now. So that objective is done too. Means there's 3 more to go. And the most tricky one right now is gonna be the money. Because I am negative all the time. Oh well. So the prairie dogs can go with the American bison, at least. They will get an extra welfare. They get extra points for welfare if they're together in one enclosure, so I can later on add some American bison to their enclosure. Right now I can't because the space is just too small for the bisons and I don't have the money to expand the enclosure, so I'll just keep an eye on them and add them as soon as I got the money. I don't even have the money to buy any of them, so as long as they won't be available for conservation points, I won't be able to get any. I would like to have a male sea lion as well, because there's only females and breeding is just good. They get you money, they get you babies, and through the babies they indirectly make you money as well. Alright, so there's already again something going on with my prairie dogs. They just won't get fed for some reason and I really don't know why. The keeper's now leaving the enclosure again without having fed them. They just refill the food enrichment items, but they don't refill the food, how you call them, the feeding platforms. So that is a issue, and I cannot relocate them because that's gonna cost money because of leveling out landscaping and that sort of stuff. Okay, so we'll just keep an eye on them and make sure that as soon as they start complaining, I'll send the keeper over to take care of it. So now I got already some bisons, because I could get some on conservation points, so that's a good thing. So let's see what animals are actually available here. There's some. Okay. Well, most are on money and I can't buy them because I don't have any money. So I might as well switch this to conservation points so that I can see which ones I can actually get. I can get some tapirs, I can get a turtle, and I think I'll just add them to my moose enclosure later on. Because I have been selling some adult moose and now I have the space to get them into my park. In the meantime, the research is going pretty well, so that's great. The beavers are also having some issues with their feed and I would really love to add another feeding platform, but I just don't have the money, so for them as well I'll just keep an eye on them. So for now I'll add the tapirs, the bisons and the turtle to the moose enclosure because of the space that I got available now. And these two loans are done now too, so that means I can get a new loan to be able to do some stuff again. So that's a good thing. I can add feeding platforms to the beavers. I can relocate the feeding platforms for my prairie dogs, and that's just amazing because, well, you know, I hope the keeper is now able to feed my prairie dogs instead of sort of abandon them. Like just visit them but not feeding them, you know? You see, there he is again and he's just refilling the few how do you say that? Feed enrichments that's there, but the thing does go up to the top of the hill to remove the manure, but it's not gonna refill the feeding platforms. That's just stupid. I don't know why, but it is happening. Okay. So now it's snowing. That means there's gonna be some more issues because there's gonna be some animals that are cold, like the turtle right here. We're just gonna add a heater and at least it's gonna have some place where it's gonna be nice and warm. Just make sure that you don't get the temperature at 30 degrees, which is standard default, because it's gonna be way too hot for the moose and they will start complaining. So just make sure that it's max 15 and they'll be good for all the animal species that are in the enclosure actually. Okay, that's funny. Cougar is up in a tree. That's what cats do, I guess. No problem for that. So there is some cougar stuff going on here too. I need to add some feeding locations as well. And I got the baby cougar has become an adult, so I have to get rid of that one. Because they're fighting and that's not nice. We don't like fighting animals. Because guests don't like fighting animals, and that's the only reason. Okay, so there's some animals dying, mostly beavers and the prairie dogs. Just keep an eye on your objectives every now and then. don't keep an eye on your time. Just make sure you speed up the game 3 times as much as possible, because time will make you money. Just that simple. The slower you're gonna set the time, the longer it's gonna take for you to actually make money. Because as you can see now, I got some green arrow going up, and there's actually no minus sign regarding money anymore. So I finally got the money to build an enclosure for my Arctic foxes, which is what I'm doing right here. And I just hope it's gonna be big enough. They don't need much space, but I just don't know if this is gonna be enough. Because if you click the enclosure, it will give you some kind of measure, but in real life, it's always a little less than it shows. Okay, so just get some food and drink stuff in there, and a little shelter, some toys. There's no food enrichment available yet, but that's okay. Just stick to toys for now, so that at least they'll have something to play with. And that should keep them happy long enough. So the research is still going well. We have already relocated it to the new animal species. I have just put 1 vet on the Arctic foxes, so that I will get some food enrichment available soon. Okay, just paint the landscape a little to make sure that every red area is gone here. You just need to keep them as happy as possible. That's okay. Add education boards and speakers, and then the education for the Arctic fox should be up to date as well, as much as possible, remember? And yeah, I forgot to do it for the bison and turtle and stuff. I'll do it later. First things first. Alright, that loan is done too, because I have money. I can raise my stuff, make sure the vandalism stuff is cleaned up as well. And then what are we gonna do? We're gonna hire some more people, because we need to have another keeper and another mechanic and stuff, just to keep up with all the new animal species I have in my zoo. Okay, some more achievements being made, and there is snow again, so that's not funny, but it's what happens. Okay, that's no problem. I just have issues reaching my speaker here, and yes, I should have done this by going to zoo and then education and then look for an unconnected speaker like I told you before, but I was being stubborn. Yeah, I am too sometimes. Just add some heaters for your prairie dog here, and then they'll be happy as soon as it snows. They won't complain about the cold anymore, so that's great. Okay, I was just checking how many species I still need to add to my zoo, and that's just 2, so I'll just pick 2 easy ones. So let's see, what do we have here? The first one we're gonna do is a pronghorn antelope and some lemurs, and then that will make 12 habitat species, so that's just perfect. We're gonna send them into the moose enclosure as well. This is the cougar one, so that's not gonna work out very well, I guess. Pay attention to that. I've been there and done that, and it's not really a fun mistake to make. So this is the moose enclosure. I have put them right there, and then that will be solved for now. Okay, so add some more shelter, because there are so many animals in this enclosure now that they don't have enough shelter going on. Make sure it's on land, because apparently in the water it doesn't work, which makes sense because not all the animals go into the water. Add some more feeding spots, otherwise you're gonna have issues again with animals being hungry because they haven't been fed. Okay, there's some sick animals, and get the vet into their enclosures and go treat them. And right here I'll add another staff building, so that the staff won't complain about having issues with the room anymore. Oh my god, let's look at that. We are already there. My goodness, I didn't even know that we were this close already. 45 minutes, great. Thank you guys.